Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave, cavetalkradio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. It's great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, we are here. And a little late, but let's dive into this. So, you sent me something today, Rich. It's very interesting. I want to leave the show with it today. New home for NFL Sunday Ticket beginning next season. YouTube TV. The big Google has jumped into the fray. NFL and Google reached an agreement, and that's where we're going to have NFL Sunday Ticket, which I have to tell you is becoming more and more valuable than it was in the past. And the reason for that is because there are so many places that you can go and get games now, and it's all very segmented, right? Like, Thursday Night Football is Amazon, Sunday Night Football is NBC, Monday Night Football is ESPN. There's games on NFL Network. Like, the thing about Sunday Ticket is you're going to have most of the games all in one place. And that's appealing in this segmented market. Now, I'm not sure if, like, for example, the Amazon game will also be available on. It wouldn't be available on Sunday Ticket because it's just the Sunday games. But all of the Sunday games would be available there, regardless of if it was on NFL Network, or if it was on ESPN, or it wouldn't be on ESPN. But so it's basically going to be all your Sunday games.
Well, everything but the NBC game,
which is basic cable,
you
which is
get
over
anyway.
It's over the air television, right? I think it's going to be more valuable than it's been in the past, although it doesn't really solve the problem as we talk that out. Because the problem, as I see it right now, is if I want to just know I can watch football whenever there's an NFL game on, I pretty much have to have a minimum of about 4 different services right now. I need ESPN, so I need some kind of cable package. I need Amazon Prime for Thursday. I need NFL Network, so I probably need a higher tier cable package or some other device like Sling or something like that. Like,
I don't think NFL Network does games anymore except for preseason.
I thought they had a couple games here this year, like a week or two ago, but I could be wrong. But, well, that makes it a little simpler because really there's just so many places with different content. There really needs to be a centralized solution to this. It's very confusing.
When money is involved.
Well, it's great for the leagues, and I have no problem with them doing it. But I think the next evolution of this new age solution that they've come up with these streaming platforms is some type of aggregator where you're able to view all of this content maybe in one place. And that aggregator, much the way, say, Spectrum Mobile is running off of the infrastructure of Verizon, that aggregator would run off the infrastructure or infrastructures of the various platforms that they're aggregating from, and then thus pay those platforms. There would be a way to do it where it would be easier for the consumer, more complex on the back end, but easier for the consumer, where I know if I go to this particular site, I can get every NFL game. And I think that would easily be expandable to other sports because this problem is not unique to the NFL. You're seeing this in the NBA. You'll probably see it a lot more when their new when the new media rights deals come up in about 2 years. You're already seeing this in baseball. I mean, there's Peacock, there's MLB TV, there's this, there's that, there's your local channels.
Apple TV has the Friday night baseball.
Right. There's still Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN. It's complicated. It really is.
It is.
And I think that's the next big solution in sports media is some type of platform rights holder approved aggregator that is basically sort of the repository that people can go to, but are paying those platforms to have their rights on the back end. And then, of course, depending on what platform, like Thursday Night Football, for example, would be your Al Michaels and Kirk Herbstreit calling the game on this aggregator I'm creating in my mind. Then, if you're doing a Peacock game, you'll have to suffer through is it Vasgersian?
I don't know.
He's pretty rough.
Peacock?
No, that's ESPN. excursion. I don't know.
Well,
But
I don't know.
my-
I don't.
my point is that the broadcasters for the platform of record would then be heard on this aggregating platform. That's what's going to have to happen. And basically what it's doing, and I've been predicting this for a long time, the market's going to demand that because it's getting really confusing. It is really confusing. What's going to basically happen is we're going to re-engineer and recreate cable. So it's basically be like a digitally produced streaming powered cable is what we're going to end up having.
Hopefully without the absurd expense of cable.
Well, no, it's going to get there again. And then the cycle is going to repeat itself where we're going to end up getting segmented for a time because people are going to want cheaper stuff. And then what they're going to realize is they're going to end up with 5 or 6 or 7 or 4 streaming platforms at $12 a month instead of one at $80 and realize they're paying $10 more now. And then they're going to go for a centralized program. Oh, that's going to happen 100%.
I mean, for what I want,
there's no question about it.
My cable price would be $160 a month.
Right. I understand.
For what I want.
Right. I understand. But when
I get that for less than half of that.
Yeah, you do. That's fine for you. But what I'm telling you is
if I want other things,
there's no question that people pay more money now than they were when they were getting cable now that they have 6 streaming providers.
Mm-hmm.
And they have less stuff probably. Even if they have the same number of stuff, they're spending a lot of mental time remembering where things are and when. People are gonna want simple again. It's absolutely 100% gonna happen. And it's gonna be led, in my opinion, by sports, because sports is the only thing that is still more or less appointment television. You don't want to watch sports on rerun for the most part.
Right.
And now that those appointments are in 9 different books instead of 1, people are going to want one appointment book again for their sports viewership. So sports is going to lead this reconsolidation, as it has led the segmentation that's happened over the last couple of years. The market's going to steer sports back to some kind of centralized solution that's not built yet. So I'm not saying this is going to happen anytime soon, but it's going to happen. I'm pretty confident of that.
As long as money involved, it's not going to be that easy.
Well, there'll be money involved in the solution too. The rights holders will get their money. This will be a solution that is agreed upon by everyone. This will absolutely be something like, for example, Spectrum. I go back to that. Spectrum, Cricket, all of these like Metro PCS, all of these quote unquote cell phone carriers, they're effectively resellers of AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile. Those are the only 3 true networks.
Right.
That same model is going to be applied to sports viewing at some point. The rights holders will be Amazon, Google, NBC, ESPN, whoever. But the platform on which it's viewed might be something different, but that platform that is doing the viewing will also be paying on the back end the way Spectrum and all these other guys do to the people whose infrastructure they're using. That model's going to be applied, I believe.
And the thing is, there's not an easy solution, because buying a package, like I get MLB every year.
Yep.
Well, it blacks out Yankees and Mets games.
Right.
Because they're in my territory.
Right.
Even though they're not.
Right. Right.
I can't just pack up for the day and go to a Mets game, much as I'd like to.
That's true.
But so because I don't have a cable package, I get SNY and Yes in my cable package, but I don't get it in my streaming package. So I lose those games. If I buy an NBA ticket, it's the same thing.
Right. Well, yeah, because of the local markets. Right.
Right. And I effectively don't have a local market in either sport.
Right.
Because I don't have teams here in those sports.
Right.
But Toronto games that never blacked out, and they're like an hour and a half away. But a game 7 hours away from me is blacked out. It makes absolutely no sense. Because I can get every Blue Jays game. Unless they're playing one of those teams that are blacked out in my market. So buying the packages, and those aren't all what they're cracked up to be either. I've had many issues with the NBA one. And they're not all they're cracked up to be either, because they're far from perfect.
Right.
And I would love to see an all-in-one solution.
Yeah, I don't know that it'll ever be 100% all in one, because I think there will always be those localized blackouts, but that wasn't really a problem or a significant point of confusion prior to this digital segmentation that's happened over these last few years. That was always just pretty relatively easy. And you're in a unique market in that you're right. Like, you don't really have, in all but the hockey and football sports, you don't have a quote unquote local team. But in most cases, like if I'm in Dallas or if I'm in Atlanta, the fact that a Hawks game is not available on pick your name for this new platform, it wouldn't matter because I would have it on local TV anyway, right? It would be, or local radio. It would be relatively easy to find,
right,
at probably no additional cost. So I think
that's not foolproof either, because
well, nothing's going to be foolproof, but I think it will. I think if we could get back to where it's just local blackouts, that'll be good enough for the market. See, the problem is
rules. Oh, go ahead.
The problem is now, like, if you're looking at a nationally televised game, they are in 5 different places, depending on the sport. And it's changing so rapidly. So the issue is not so much the local games that you might miss out on. It's more the national games that are now in so many different places. So if those rights holders agreed on a centralized distribution platform for the rights to the games they hold, that would solve the national games. The local games are always going to be less solvable, but that's just because of laws governing local market rights to broadcast television. Now, at some point, maybe the whole model comes down, right? But for the time being, I don't see that happening. So my expectation is that there won't be that big of that's not that big of a deal. I think the drive from the consumers is, hey, I just want to watch Thursday night football, or I just want to watch Sunday night baseball, or I just want to watch the major matchup in the NBA and or college football, and it's all in so many places now.
I think with baseball and basketball, those major matchups that are televised are available on ESPN, and every basic package has at least one ESPN. But there's a lot of other things that aren't. Like you said, Thursday night football. I have personally zero reason to get Amazon Prime, and that's not enough of a driving factor to make me spend that much money. It's one game, and I can find it somehow. And if anyone has the same issue I do and is looking for a workaround, use a VPN. Put yourself in Boise, Idaho, and watch whatever game you want.
Yeah, there's all right. Well, let's take a break. There's ways to do it, but it's complicated, and most people
It is.
And I'm gonna have cable. That's it. I'm not figuring this stuff out. They can figure this out, and I'll buy the solution that I just outlined.
I'd like to see it.
Anyway, well,
I really would.
Yeah, it'll happen. It's just a matter of when. All right, let's take a break. We'll come back. We got a lot to get to. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't, and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
All righty, we're back, and let's go ahead and get to the radio question of the day.
Professional athletes are descending into data overload. I am KO, back in 1 minute with your sports question of the day.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, you may qualify for a free continuous glucose monitor system. Managing your diabetes is crucial to your health. The new CGM systems can automatically manage your diabetes better for you. And by using a CGM system, you can eliminate forever one thing most people with diabetes hate the most: finger sticks. Now it's possible to manage your diabetes better, end the painful finger sticks, and get a new CGM monitoring system at little or no cost to you. We even provide in-home delivery and do all the insurance paperwork for you. Now is the best time to manage your diabetes better and get your continuous glucose monitor. Call now for details. Call 800-438-1391. 800-438-1391. That's 800-438-1391. Paid for by U.S. Med.
U.S. skier Nina O'Brien is big on wearable technology, but wearables do have drawbacks. She told Sport Techie, "It's kind of a double-edged sword. I really like having all that data, but on race day, I don't look at my readiness score before I ski. I don't like to be told I'm not ready." Professor Greg White says O'Brien's experience with tech is actually pretty common. He recommends athletes be mindful of tech overload as it can be damaging to their psychological readiness. Question for the data obsessed: which are you most likely to track? Heart rate or steps per day?
You keep giving us these duplicate questions.
Yeah, I'm likely to track neither.
Yeah, I mean, if anything, I would probably track my heart rate, because that's a good indicator of your cardiovascular fitness.
Yes.
The lower your heart rate is during peak exercise, the more in shape you are. I think if I'm trying to lose weight and maybe create activity habits, which wouldn't be the case for a high level athlete, but for like a regular person, steps are useful for, tracking, hey, how much am I getting up and moving, and reestablishing or establishing for the first time these healthier habits.
Right.
I think for an athlete, heart rate's more important because it tells you, okay, am I close to game shape, or am I in better shape or worse shape than I was before? So I think for me, this one's it depends who I am. If I'm a regular person who is trying to get into a routine, I guess if I'm trying to get into a routine of higher levels of activity, I might be more interested in my steps. But if I'm a regular person who is generally active and is trying to get into better shape, like let's say I'm training for a 5K or something, then I think I'm more interested in my heart rate. If I'm an athlete, I'm interested in my heart rate. Not, I don't need to track my steps if I'm an athlete.
Right. And yeah, if there's a wild fluctuation in heart rate, you're not ready.
Right, exactly. Yeah, if your heart rate goes up to 130 when you're just jogging on a treadmill, you're in trouble.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But I mean, I have the ability to track it all, but I really don't. A lot of it depends on my environment. I mean, a storm's going to hit here and we're expecting 3 feet of snow. Well, guess what? I'm not getting a lot of steps in.
Right.
But if I take a weekend in the summer and go to New York to see my sister or something, I'm putting on 20,000 steps a day in the city. So your environment has a lot to do with it.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, New York City is conducive to lots of walking.
And that's what I love about it.
That's why you see a lot of skinny people in New York City, because people are active out of necessity.
That's my favorite thing about the city.
I agree. Yep, I totally agree. That and the incredible transit system that's accessible.
Yes.
Those are the two best things about New York City.
And I seldom use the transit, but when I used to cover the WNBA and I would go into the Garden for games, I'd stay near the Garden, go to my game, blah, blah, walk down to Chelsea, see my sister.
Yep.
Go into the Village.
Yep.
Walk over to Brooklyn. Next thing I know, I had 20,000 steps.
Right.
It's so easy to do, and it just feels more natural than it does in a lot of other places.
Right. Well, everywhere else, you're like, you're making a point to go walk somewhere. When you're in New York City, it's just the way you get around in most cases.
Right.
I mean, if I'm going from, say, Chelsea, like 14th Street in Union Square area, let's say I'm going from Union Square to Madison Square Garden, yeah, I could get a train, but by the time I walk down the platform, buy a ticket, go through the turnstile, wait for the train, then walk back up the platform, you're just better off walking there.
Right. Right.
So you walk the 20 blocks, which is not an insignificant amount, but when you're in that environment, it feels, and it probably is, the most efficient way of doing it. And
I love to walk anyway. So
yeah, walking's great.
I mean, but like I said, we're all prisoners in different environments.
Right. Yeah. If you live in random,
I walked a ton when I lived in Arizona. A ton.
Interesting. That surprises me.
And I don't as much here because the weather is seldom conducive. Well, people think you have all that summer, but they don't factor in rain, which happens a lot.
Yep. That makes sense. But
yeah, that's the perfect environment for that. So I've never, and I get around a lot on foot anyway. So I normally don't pay as much attention to my steps, but heart rate is, more conducive to what I try to do.
Yes.
And I can imagine for an athlete, that's like intensified 1,000 times.
Yeah, no, being heart rate is a big deal in that setting. I think steps are good when you're trying to establish a regimen of activity, and it's a good way to measure yourself and see how well you're doing the job.
And I know you and I differ on some things. You go to the gym.
Yes.
I don't. I have some exercise equipment I use here.
Yeah, I have exercise equipment at home that is dusty furniture as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, sometimes mine is too. But
my wife bought this stuff and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to use that. Like, I know that about myself. Like I straight up, I would never buy even one dumbbell for my house. Like I won't exercise at home.
See, I will only because it's 15 degrees. I don't want to leave the house, but I should exercise.
Yeah. The social aspect of a gym is pretty much the reason that I am more likely to do it. And in fact, even at the gym, I seldom use the exercise equipment. I do group classes, or I play volleyball, or I play basketball. Like I do things that involve other people. That's the whole reason I go to a gym.
Okay.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
And the group things in certain chains of gyms are really good.
Yes, yeah, they are. The cycling classes are
if
fun.
If I don't have to leave the house, I won't.
Understood.
And getting on a treadmill, man, I don't want to take that many steps and stay in the same place.
Yeah, treadmills are rough. Yeah.
It just, it's like an alien concept to me.
See, I like
If I take
cycling
that many
classes.
steps, I want to.
I like cycling classes for that reason. Is like, yeah, you're still kind of in the same place, but the class itself has a timed or distance-based end to it. And when you have other people around and an instructor, it creates more of a lively environment that kind of
Yeah.
it turns a treadmill into more of a not quite a competition, but more of a a engagement activity, I think.
I I get very competitive, and that's when I end up doing more damage to my
Yeah, right. Well,
body
that's
because I want to beat the guy next to me.
yeah,
You know,
even if the guy's 4 times better shape, right? It's like,
oh yeah, I don't care.
right, you were trying to
I'm
beat
gonna
him
beat
anyway.
him,
Yeah.
and it ends up hurting me
Yeah.
more than anything.
Yeah, I understand that. I have to try to turn that instinct off myself in those environments, but I find that
Oh,
having that
someday
there,
tell me how you do that.
yeah, just I don't always do it. Sometimes I manage to, but yeah, it creates an interesting environment. But yeah, I think as far as the question, steps and heart rate are two very different things, and I think ultimately depends who you are and what you're trying to do. But I think for more people than not, heart rate's probably the more important of the two.
Yeah, I don't actively track either, but
Yeah.
heart rate's one I will look at.
Yeah. All right. Well, there you go. So we got Thursday night football. We got
A
some good
game that
NBA.
means something too.
Yeah. Hey, a meaningful football game. The Rams are officially eliminated from playoff contention. We know that. We are going to get into the NBA from last night. A lot of good action. And not too much today in the NBA. So we'll kind of skip today's games. There's only 2 of them. Neither is particularly exciting.
No.
so so we'll kind of avoid those, but a lot to look back on from last night. More
And
hot
not only
stove
that,
stuff.
warm yourself up for 14 games on Friday.
All right. Well, we better drink some more coffee because we'll have our work cut out for us.
Oh, I'll be doing that all day. And we do have to pick tonight's NFL game, a meaningful NFL game.
All right. Well, let's do that on the other side of the break. We'll come right back and we'll dive into Thursday night football. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All righty, Rich, give us the Thursday night football you've been teasing. What do we got?
Oh, what a game. Let's take a step back. A little over a year and a half. Top 2 picks in the draft were Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson. They meet tonight with playoff implications on the line. Not just a throwaway game like last year's was. Jaguars, man, they look doomed. I thought, well, there's no postseason stuff here. They're getting a little better. But since their bye week, they won 3 out of 4. Lawrence has 11 touchdowns, super high passer rating. And Wilson, well, he's starting because Mike White can't.
Right.
And that's it.
That's that. Yep.
Wilson has the league's worst completion percentage and the second worst passer rating. The key for me in this game, because if I look at just Lawrence versus Wilson, my pick's easy.
That's easy, right?
But the key for me is, man, the Jets defense.
Yeah, they're so good.
They're going to give him a tough time. They forced 3 and outs on the league's, I think it's 6th greatest share of drives, and punts on the 7th best. That defense is just popping.
Oh, they're amazing. I mean, and the thing about the Jets too is because of that defense, they tend to win time of possession battles. It's funny. Normally winning time of possession battles is an indicator of a, controlled passing game or a strong running game. And it's the offense keeping the defense off the field. In this case, it's the defense keeping the defense off the field because they get so many 3 and outs.
Oh, yeah. And break that defense down past that. They allow like the 3rd lowest number of plus 10-yard plays in the league, and negative plays, they're 6th. I mean, they make all the right plays. So now Lawrence has to navigate this without his left tackle. So his blindside guy's gone. And he's got to do it up in Jersey where it's going to be cold.
Oh, yeah. This week in particular, it's going to be like wicked cold.
So picking this game is not easy.
No, it's a tough one. It is. And I mean, and it's, it's a season determining game for both teams.
Yes.
Like the loser of this game is pretty well done. And the winner is relatively good position, not like locked by any stretch, but in a pretty good position to maybe make the playoffs.
Right. Especially in the division Jacksonville's in.
Yes.
I mean, look, Tennessee was 7-3. Now they're 7-7, and Tannehill's out for the year.
Yep.
Who knows what Malik Willis can do with that offense? And he's probably going to be handing off 30 times a game.
I saw Peyton Manning. I mean, it was obviously a meme, but it was funny. I think it was actually, it might have even been something he said as a joke. It sounds like something he would say, actually. It said, I spoke to the commissioner and they're just going to pretend the NFC North doesn't exist this year and just let all the teams in the East make the playoffs instead.
That probably came from a Manning cast.
He probably said that. Yeah, I totally do believe it. That's what I'm saying. I absolutely could hear him saying that.
But thinking about it again, Lawrence Wilson, I have no problem making that decision. But the Jags are 2-5 on the road, and they're a young team, and that's to be expected. But the Jets got Wilson.
I'll tell you something.
They're at home. It's going to be cold.
It's going to be cold. Vegas agrees with your indecisive perspective here. This line is all kinds of funky. So the Jets are slight favorites. They're 2.5-point favorites.
As well, they should be at home.
Yes. But the money line on the Jags is almost nothing. It's 115 plus 115. So, and the over under, they're telling you it's not going to be points in this game. 37. So they're thinking this game's going to be like 20-14, 17-14, something like that.
Now, the question I have for you, if it's 20-14, it falls under. Do you trust Wilson to get 20 points?
No, but I think there's a reasonable possibility the Jets score a non-traditional touchdown in this game, either defensive or special teams, or
they're going to have to.
Yeah, and I think that's why the over/under is so low. Is I think the weather factor is driving, and the fact that the tackle's out, like you mentioned, is driving down their expectation for Jacksonville's offense, which of course is the far better of the two. And then the inability of Wilson to do a lot is driving down the Jets offense. So I think that's why you have such the low over under. And I also think that baked into that lower number is this expectation that because you're going to have sloppy conditions and a sloppy home offensive team, you're likely to have mistakes, which lead to, if not direct defensive touchdowns, you might end up a possession where you get the ball 1st and 10 on your own 15 or something, like fumble or a red zone turnover or something like that, where it's like going to get, even if it turns into a field goal, it's cheap points.
True.
So I think I honestly think plays like that are going to determine this game. I think there's going to be probably 2 or 3 of those plays throughout the game where there's either a non-traditional touchdown or a turnover and a point in the field where the other team's basically guaranteed points.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen a lot in this game.
Sense.
Yeah.
And looking at recent history, Jacksonville won last week on a defensive touchdown.
Yep.
The Jets lost a few weeks ago, a division game, on a really funky punt return.
They did.
So, I mean, this game has so much randomness in it.
No, it's going to be a doozy.
Contemplating picking a tie.
Well, that would be funny if both New York area teams tied in the same season.
It would.
That would be
because
funny.
ties are so seldom.
Yeah. I feel like Pittsburgh gets one almost every year, or every other year. And it's always
look at the standings, they're always like 9-4-1 going into week 14 or whatever.
Yes. It's just like, why? And it's usually against someone weird. It's usually like the Browns, or it's against like
someone they have no business playing a tie.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is a good game. And like you said, a lot riding on it and a lot of local intrigue. Of course, it's New York. So we got that going for us. I mean, this is a game. I'm probably going to go to my buddy Rob's house and check this one out, to be honest with you. Because he's got Prime, and I'm probably going to do that because this will be interesting. It might be ugly, but I think it'll be close.
It could.
It could be one of those ugly close games. That's what I think. I don't think it's going to be a blowout.
Really
I don't think either team has enough offense to blow out anybody.
No, I don't either. I think Jacksonville has the offense.
Yep.
But this is a superlative defense they're going up against.
Oh, no question. Oh, a little bit of a quick programming note. Tomorrow we'll be on from 11 to noon. So just wanted to let everyone know that 1 hour show tomorrow.
Sleeping in.
Sleeping in. That's right. Taking a bear nap.
Why not?
So what's your official pick in this one?
Got 6 lines here.
Oh, geez.
All crossed out.
I go with one of them.
Yeah, I don't know who. Did you expect this game in December, meaning playoffs for both teams?
No.
I didn't either.
No chance. So what do you got?
I want to pick the Jets because they're at home.
Uh-huh.
But I have zero faith in Zach Wilson, despite him having not the worst day ever last week.
Are you going Jets?
I'm going to go with the Jags.
You're going Jags. Okay. Then I'll go with the Jets just for the hell of it. I think the temperature, the lack of a left tackle, and the fact that I personally think this game's going to come down to non-traditional plays to field, getting a couple of, key breaks in advantageous parts of the field. I think that type of game favors the Jets' best strength, which is their defense.
It does.
The temperature, the home field. I'm going to go with the Jets in spite of Zach Wilson. So
I was leaning that way for so much of it. And I have an hour to think about it even more.
Oh, don't you change? No. These are locks, man. This is in the safe box.
You've changed during the show. So don't even go there. Did you see some of the temperatures?
Yeah.
I was talking to a friend of mine this morning on social in Minnesota, And I asked him what the temperature was there, and oh, it's -4. I'm like, you're quite blasé about that. I said, that's not normal. I said, when I see anything under 0 degrees, I feel I'm owed degrees. -4, and that's going to be their high today.
Negative
Their
4
low
still.
is going to be -8.
I remember one time, this reminds me of a college story. I remember one time I went to SUNY Oswego, right on the lake. So wind chill bonanzas. It was not unusual for the wind chill to drop the feel like temperature by like 20 or 25 degrees. That happened like pretty regularly. So I remember one time I was leaving the recreation center where I was playing some pickup ball. I was leaving the recreation center with a couple of my friends, and we walked outside and we were going to late night, which ended at I think 9 o'clock. So we were walking like 8 o'clock, 8:30 to get some like last minute wings before heading home. And we walked outside, and it's probably about I'd say a 200 to 300 yard walk from the gym to the dining hall. And so we got out there. My buddy KJ was like, it was like negative whatever. And like basically your spit would freeze on contact with the ground. And KJ's like, I'm too black for this crap. He's like, my black ass can't handle this.
Well, you also worked at St. Bonaventure, right?
I did, yes.
Oh man, the way those buildings are on campus, you duck around a corner to get away from wind.
Yes.
It follows you.
It does. No, they have those
It
wind
really-
tunnels. That's the problem.
It really does.
Yes.
And it is cold.
Yes, it is very cold. Very, very cold. Yeah,
And everyone always says, well, when it's warm, you can't take enough layers off. Well, guess what? When it's minus anything, you can't put enough on.
I do agree with the overall logic. You could always add more clothes. Yeah, at some point it's hard to
Then
fully
you can't
insulate.
walk after a while.
Yeah.
Well, I've got these on, but I can't move.
Right.
It's-
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I think personally, that going to school in that part of the world really helped me in life, because like when I see temperatures like this, it's like it's cold, but I know what this is all about. Like I'm
Yeah.
prepared for it, but also summers in Oswego and springs in particular are idyllic.
yes.
Oh,
Yes.
you can't do
They are.
better. And they always used to, and I was like, man, whoever is the weather person that informs the schedule and dates for like the open houses and the campus tours for prospective students, that person needs to be like the official weatherman of the world, because that's like the most accurate person in the world. Because every time in my 3 years there that they would come through with a with some type of campus visit for like prospective students, it would always be perfect out. And I was like, you guys are getting hoodwinked. They are totally giving you
Oh,
the
yeah.
nice side of the coin.
Well, you're not doing one in February. Come on.
But even like it would never rain. It would always be nice out. Like if they did one in September could be cold there anyway. And it never was. And I was like, you guys are being lied to, because let me tell you something. That lake that you're all gawking over right now, you're going to be cursing in 2 months.
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. Did you see the list for temperatures for game times though? -11 in Chicago Saturday. Oh, where's some of the other ones? -8 in Minnesota, where the Giants will be playing Sunday.
Yeah,
It's-
it's cold. I mean, it's brutal.
It's just flat out cold.
Yep, it's brutal.
And in Chicago, ignore the temperature.
Don't even look. You
Because
don't-
if it's 28 with varying winds or 8, -8, it's cold. Because the wind alone will frost your knuckles, for lack of a better, for anything I can say on the air.
Frozen knuckles. All right, well, let's take a break. We'll come back. Top of the hour, hour 2, top 5 is next. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. Hour 2, the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave. CaveTalkRadio.com, the Cave Talk Radio app. It's great to have you aboard. Gary Ayd, Rich Anselmo, and Jack George with the top 5.
This is the moment we've all been waiting for. It's time for Cave Talk Radio's Top 5.
There we have it. All right, what do we got for the top 5, Rich?
Okay, MLB just released their best 2023 lineups. They ranked their top 10. Give me your top 5 and let's see how many you have.
Lineups only, right? We're not ranking best teams, just offenses.
Lineups, offensive lineups.
Okay.
That's all they have here. And wow.
Well, Mets, Phillies, Dodgers, those 3 have to be in the list somewhere. Those 3 come off the top real quick.
They are. The Mets are first.
Mm-hmm.
The Phillies and Dodgers are in the top 10, but not the top 5.
Really?
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
Oh, I'm putting the Phillies in my top 5. I don't care what MLB says. That lineup
Well, the Dodgers lost both Turners, so that...
Yeah, no, I understand that. And Swanson signed with, was it Minnesota?
Yes.
Dansby Swanson?
Oh, was it Minnesota?
No, where did he sign? Because
No, he signed...
Did he sign with the Dodgers? Let's see.
No.
Because or did he sign at all yet? Because there's been a lot of stuff about him. And I'm trying to remember where he went.
The Cubs.
He went to the Cubs. That's right. Yep. Okay. I think that hurts Atlanta a lot. I do.
Oh, yeah, it does. I mean, you lose a 28-year-old all-around great player like that.
Yeah, it's a tough one to lose. So I'm going to go Mets, I think, have the best lineup. I think Philly's second. I don't care what MLB thinks. I think that's crazy. Philly's lineup is terrifying. I like the Padres lineup, but I have to see Soto play like Juan Soto again for a full season.
They have the Padres second.
Yeah, I'm going to put them third behind the Mets and the Phillies. I would have put the Dodgers third, except for the loss of Trey Turner. I think that really hurts them. Justin Turner hurts a little bit, but the Trey Turner hurts a lot, I think.
Yes.
So I'm going to put but that means the Dodgers are fourth for me. And this is, again, without looking at any of their lists. And then fifth is probably going to be someone weird. Like teams that come off the top of my head. Toronto comes off the top of my head.
They're fourth there.
Cleveland raked pretty good last year.
I think Cleveland is 10th.
Okay.
They are.
Yep.
Guardianas.
I could see some weird team like Colorado having like a high-powered offense, but I'm gonna.
They're not in their top 10 at all.
All right, good. I'm gonna go ahead and say I think I'm gonna go with Toronto.
Okay.
So if I'm gonna put them in order for me, top 5 offenses: Mets 1, Phillies 2, Padres 3, Dodgers 4, and Toronto 5.
Okay.
That's my list.
Well, everyone you picked is in the top 10.
Who else did they have?
I'm going to run down these lineups real quick.
Okay.
They have the Mets first.
Mm-hmm.
Nimmo, Correa, Lindor, Alonso, McNeil, Marte, Vogelbach, Canna, and Narvaez.
Boom. And I think Vogelbach and Escobar will probably platoon because Escobar smashes left-handed hitting so much, left-handed pitching so much.
And that's 7th in the lineup.
That's awesome.
They have the Padres second. Tatis Jr., Soto, Machado, Bogarts, Cronenworth, Carpenter, Hassan Kim, Nola the catcher, and Grisham the center fielder. Who's like
bad.
One of the better 9 hitters.
Is Grisham related to Marquise Grisham?
No,
I didn't think so.
They have the Astros third. With an
Forgot about
interesting
Houston
lineup.
somehow.
Altuve, Pena, Alvarez, Bregman, Tucker, Abreu, Brantley, now that they re-signed him. McCormick, who's an excellent center
Where did
fielder.
Brantley play last year?
Oh, God, where did they get him from?
Because he was on Houston during their last championship.
Yes, and then he left.
Now he came back.
And came back. And they finish out with the catcher, Maldonado, batting ninth.
I forgot about Houston somehow. I probably have to amend my list. I'll probably put their lineup ahead of
Let
Toronto's.
me run through all the 10, and then we can,
okay.
can do your final. Fourth was the Blue Jays. Springer, Bichette, Vlad Jr., Kirk, Chapman, Jansen, Gurriel Jr., Espinal, and Kiermaier. Not a bad lineup. And if you look at guys like Springer, Kirk, Guerrero, and Bichette, were all at least 29% better than league average. They have the Cardinals fifth. Edmund, Contreras, Goldschmidt, Arenado, Donovan, O'Neill, Nootbaar, love saying that name, Yepes, and Carlson.
Okay, Cardinals.
I think the way Goldschmidt just crashed in the last month.
Did. Oh, he crashed big time.
I think age is going to catch up with him, and I think they're rated a little high, although I love Edmund leading off. Sixth, they have the Braves, and I don't agree with this either. Acuna Jr., Harris, Riley, Olson, Murphy, Darno is a DH. Albies, Ozuna, and Grissom. I'm like, that's not top 10.
That doesn't excite me. No, I agree.
They have the Dodgers seventh, and I'm trying to figure out why. This lineup sounds pretty good. Betts, Freeman, Smith, Muncy, Martinez, Lux, Taylor, Vargas, and Outman.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's better than the Braves lineup for sure.
I do too. They have the Phillies eighth. Please tell me why. Here it is. Schwarber, Trey Turner, Real Muto, Harper, Hoskins, Castellanos, Bohm, Scott.
How is that?
And the best defensive center fielder in the National League, Brandon Marsh.
How is that
ninth.
any worse than like fourth?
I don't know.
Like,
People are underestimating the amount of speed Turner's going to give them at the top of the order.
I mean, just the trio of Realmuto, Harper, and Schwarber alone makes them a top 10 lineup. Just those three by themselves. I mean, I'm a Met fan. I hope Philly stinks, but like, they're not going to.
No, they're not. Now, ninth, they have the Yankees. Bader, Judge, Rizzo, Stanton, Torres, Donaldson, Trevino, Peraza, and Hicks.
I mean, I guess maybe if I wasn't...
The top five is good.
I guess if I wasn't from New York and I hadn't seen this team basically do the same thing for 8 straight years, that might excite me. But like, it's the same old stale blah that they've had forever. Like, they're going to hit home runs. They're going to, wear out low-level pitching during the regular season. And then they're going to struggle to produce runs in situations where they need to produce runs with timely hitting and moving runners over and whatnot, and lose in the first or second round of the playoffs to a team that can do that. Like, that's what's going to happen.
Yes. And that's them in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Every year.
Right. So, like, that's just it. Okay, whatever. Does that make...
Guardianas are 10th. And I get it.
I do. I understand that too.
You had a team last year that had the best contact rate in baseball and had a real high base running score. And they added Bell and Zunino. 2 guys that can bring some power. Their lineup's going to be Kwan, Rosario, Ramirez, Bell, Naylor, Gonzalez, Jimenez, Zunino, and another great defensive center fielder, Miles Straw, 9th.
Well,
That's a nice little lineup.
I'll tell you what. Anytime I have someone in my lineup in baseball with the name of Naylor, I feel pretty good.
Yeah,
it's a good baseball name.
Yeah, and he is gonna be their DH.
Well, I would say they nailed it with that one. Ha ha!
Oh yeah,
there we go.
Waiting for it. I left that door open for a reason. And adding Zunino ninth fixed something for them. Catcher and power.
Mm.
And as long as their pitching stays the same, they're going to be spoken about. Believe me, they're going to be in this thing.
It's interesting. So putting these,
Throw down your final top 5 for.
I think Houston's the only team I feel I left out. And I think I'm gonna probably kick Toronto out because it's a toss up to me between Toronto and LA in terms of who I want to leave in. I might leave. It's tough.
I don't think Toronto hurt themselves enough to be out in my.
Yeah, but I trust the Dodgers lineup more. I'm gonna go.
As far as batting lineup, I trust the Jays lineup as much as almost anyone's.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick.
Save probably New York and Philly because.
Yeah, I'm gonna kick Toronto out because I had them at 5th. And I just think the Astros. I totally just forgot about Houston somehow. So yeah, I gotta put the Astros in here. And I'm gonna move the Astros into that 5th spot. So my final lineup is gonna be my lineup ranking is gonna be Mets 1, Phillies 2nd. I'm gonna go with the Padres 3rd.
We're the same so far.
I'm gonna go with the Dodgers. No, I'm gonna go with the Astros 4th and the Dodgers 5th. So that's how I'm.
We're the same, except take Toronto out and put them in 5.
Yeah. I think Toronto is going to be one of these teams that we spend a lot of years talking about. Toronto's coming, and then they never ultimately get there. So
It's not going to be their lineup that does it to them.
no, probably not. And like
It's
they're
gonna
right.
be pitching.
Really, I wish this was a top 6 because those are the 6 best lineups. I think.
I agree.
I
agree completely.
like someone has to be left off, and it was either them, the Dodgers, or I couldn't leave off the Astros. So
Think about this though. You take that Mets lineup. If you pull Narvaez out at catcher and put in Alvarez when he comes up, that's a huge upgrade.
it is.
It really is. And pass the Kool-Aid because I'm drinking it.
Let's go. Let's see him actually execute in the playoffs this year. So
that lineup is
I'm excited
the best
about it.
Now, if Alvarez comes up, that's going to be lethal.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty intense. And the thing that's great about Correa too is he's a great defensive player. So now they have probably the best left side of the infield in baseball defensively between him and Lindor.
I know you're not a big Lindor guy, but he can field.
Oh no, my problems with Lindor have been his inconsistencies offensively since he's been with the Mets. I have no problem with him in the field. He's a great defensive player.
There's no excuse for those inconsistencies now with this lineup around him.
Well, that's the thing. I was thinking about that yesterday, and this could be a fun exercise to do on the other side of the break. Let's do this. How do you stack this Mets lineup? If you're writing out the lineup card, there's a few different ways you can order this. Let's take a look at that. Let's take a crack at that. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back. We'll take a crack at that. We'll look into some NBA stuff as well. We still got hockey scores to get to, news you can use. That's what's on tap the rest of the way. Back after this, we're writing out their Mets lineup card here on The Cave.
Well, face the facts. You made a mistake. You made a bad purchase. A timeshare is not an investment. It's a money pit that continues forever. If you use your timeshare, that's great. But if you don't and you want to legally get out of your contract, call my friends right now at the Timeshare Exit Hotline. They're an experienced team of lawyers who help good people like you get out of a timeshare contract that they just don't want. Don't throw away your money on maintenance fees. Use it for things you really want. We can help you end your timeshare contract and stop the money drain immediately. If you're ready to move on with your timeshare, call our team right now.
Cancel your timeshare now. with a free call. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. 800-741-9557. That's 800-741-9557. If you're living with diabetes and using insulin, you know the pain of pricking your fingers over and over again. Ouch! Well, by wearing a small remote device called a continuous glucose monitor, or CGM, you can reduce the pain of pricking your fingers. If you administer insulin 3 or more times per day or use an insulin pump, call now and learn how a CGM can help you.
Painless. No more pricking my finger.
No finger pricks.
Convenience. They delivered it free and they took care of all the paperwork.
You can reduce pain right away. Plus, it's accurate, easy to use, and helps you spend more time in range. And if you have insurance, you can get a new CGM at little or no out-of-pocket cost. Call now and get free shipping of your new CGM. Plus, we'll bill your insurance for you. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. 800-826-5884. That's 800-826-5884.
Okay, well, before we get to the Mets thing, unfortunately, during the break, I learned some sad news. We heard it yesterday that he wasn't doing well in hospice. Ronnie Hillman, the former Bronco, has passed away at the age of 31, I believe he was. Really young guy.
Yes, that was going to lead off my news you can use.
Yeah. Very sad
Very.
story.
Very.
There's some kind of cancer. I think it was either liver or kidney cancer. And he was compounded by pneumonia, and
it just got worse.
Yep. So unfortunately, that's a tough thing to deal with. I mean, you talk about a really young guy. I mean,
For someone that young.
yeah,
Oh,
that's rough. So anyway, condolences to the family and friends and whatnot. It's really a sad story. All right, so let's take a look at this Mets lineup here. There's so many ways to stack this. I mean, this is like mad scientist stuff. I mean, you can go so many different ways here. See, one thing I might consider, especially now that you have the DH in both leagues, is I've always liked the double leadoff strategy where I put one of my better contact leadoff hitters in the 9-hole. So, and the Mets have enough talent now where they could do that. That you could do that either with McNeil or Correa, or even someone like Marte could theoretically hit near the top or bottom of the order. If you're going for that double leadoff thing, I think I would put McNeil at 9, Correa at 1.
Oh, okay.
And then I would put Alonso maybe at 2, because it's effectively the 3-hole at that point. And protect him with Lindor. Or you could put Lindor at 2 and protect him with Alonso at 3. But I'm definitely going McNeil 9, Correa 1. I probably would go. I don't trust Lindor enough in contact situations not to strike out there. So I'd probably go with someone who's a better contact hitter there.
How about Marte?
Marte is a good option. Yeah, maybe Marte there at 2. I would put maybe Lindor at 3. So you have that protection of Alonso behind him so that his tendency to strike out is balanced by the fact that if those other guys get on base, you're going to give Lindor pitches to hit because you don't want to face Alonso in that situation.
Right.
And then, the problem with this lineup construction is there's not a lot of protection then behind Alonso at 4.
That's why they have the way they presented it was McNeil batting 5th.
Right. And I get that. I guess
they have Nimmo leading off.
Oh yeah, Nimmo's a good option too,
which makes a lot of sense. They have Nimmo, Correa 2nd.
All right, you know what?
Lindor 3rd.
Yeah.
Alonso 4th, McNeil 5th, Marte 6th. I would probably move him up. Vogelbach 7th, Canna 8th, and Narvaez 9th.
Here's what I forgot about Nimmo. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to still go with McNeil 9. I'm going to go with Nimmo in the leadoff spot. I'm going to put Marte still 2nd. I'm gonna
Want to
put
knock Correa down to 5th?
yeah, I am, and so Marte second. I'm gonna go Lindor third, Alonso 4, Correa 5th to protect Alonso,
And that, yeah, definitely protects Alonso.
and then I think from there you throw in the 6th hole. I'm probably going with Canna, followed by the catching platoon.
Really, you'd have Narvaez that high
Maybe 8.
ahead of the DH spot?
Well, it's I guess you put him at 8, and I'm forgetting the DH.
Vogelbach.
Vogelbach, yeah. So Vogelbach would be 7. Him or Escobar. I'm gonna platoon those two. I'm gonna play Escobar
Right.
against left-handers. So
Right.
that would be 7, and then I'd have the catcher at 8, and then of course the 9 is basically a double leadoff, like I said. So
Yeah.
because I like that double leadoff thing, I always did, and I think the Mets, given that they have all these bats that are a lot of them are contact guys, have the pieces to pull that off, where a lot of teams don't.
True.
So so that's my final lineup. I'm going number 1, 9. I almost start with 9 because it's kind of like a wraparound. I'm going 9 with McNeil. 1, I'm going Nimmo. 2 is Marte. 3 is Lindor. 4 is Alonso. 5, I have Correa. 6, I'm going Mark Canna. 7, I'm going with the platoon of Escobar and Vogelbach. And 8, I'm going with the catcher platoon, whoever it ends up being.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, because that could all change if the young catcher comes up.
right, which I'm hoping he does.
And that would mean a lot different too. Yeah, I don't like the way they have it, and that's the one problem I had with it was Marte 6th. This guy just makes contact, and he's so fast on base that it creates an advantage for your 3rd and 4th hitters.
Mhm.
And Lindor might get better pitches to hit if Marte's out there on the base paths.
Yeah.
Not to mention Nimmo. I mean, that's
Yep. It's a good
it's a
problem to have.
killer lineup. There's so many things you can do.
Yeah, I
with
mean
that.
that's just one way of organizing it. There's a million ways you can organize it. You could create a murderer's row where you just stack your 3 power hitters 3 through 5. I mean, if you really wanted to, you could go Lindor, Alonso, Correa, which I guess I did, but then you could also add in McNeil there, right behind or in front of them. So,
or
like,
the DH.
right. But
Vogelbach's going to hit some out.
right.
The prime athlete that he is.
Yes. He should probably be looking at his steps.
I'll tell you. I don't care because when he gets, it takes him a while to get to first. But if he's on first and starts motoring, he gets faster. I don't know how, but between 2nd and 3rd, all of a sudden his speed starts kicking in.
I don't know.
He's not, McNeil like or Marte like flying around those bases. But once that momentum gets going, it's hard to stop it.
Yeah, he's like he needs like a runway to come to a stop. Good old Volgy. All right, well there you have it, Mets lineup. All right, let's take another break. We'll come back. We'll dive into some NBA. A lot to get to from last night, some NHL scores as well. Then we'll finish up with news you can use. That's what's on tap the rest of the way. It's the Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.
Are you like me? You have health insurance, but you don't have dental insurance. Do you need to get to the dentist right away? Maybe you need an implant or some other major service. Well, I found a dental insurance plan that's just right for you. It's called Spirit Dental. Spirit Dental offers a $100 lifetime deductible, a huge network of dentists. And here's the best part. There's no waiting periods. Yeah, that means you can call right now and have real dental insurance for you and your family tomorrow and get that immediate coverage you want. Spirit Dental has plans for just a few dollars a day, up to $5,000 annual maximum, and coverage for implants. Whatever age you are, the dental insurance you need is a free phone call away. Now don't wait, and be sure to ask about Spirit's vision plan. Here's the number: 800-631-9229. 800-631-9229. That's 800-631-9229.
Hey friend, life happens and you need money. What do? You call the special toll-free number we're about to give you. We will send you a link to your phone with details on how you can loan up to $5,000. Couldn't you use $5,000 to pay for your rent, pay grocery bills, get your car repaired, or whatever you need? It's up to you. We don't care. We're just here to lend you the money. And we'll lend people money with good, bad, or no credit at all. Of course, some terms and conditions apply, and you'll see those on the link we're going to send you. So if you need up to $5,000 maybe as soon as the next business day, call this number right now. We will text you a free link with details.
Paid for by Money Mutual. Call 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. 800-586-7112. That's 800-586-7112.
All right, NBA last night, Rich. A lot of great stuff. You mentioned your Clippers. Let's start there. Playing good. Okay, it's Charlotte, but you know what? Whatever.
Hey, they've won a few games in a row. They're looking decent doing it. Their defense was on point. They only gave up 105 last night, and a lot of that was in severe garbage time. They looked good. It was a 21-point win. Ivica Zubac was back, and that was nice to see. They had a full lineup. Paul George had a nice game, 22, 8, and 8. Nicholas Batum had 21 off the bench. It was an outstanding game. I mean, LaMelo Ball did what he does for Charlotte. He had 25, 11, and 12.
Yeah, he's
a triple-double.
Yep. Definitely the best of the Ball brothers by a huge margin.
And I was impressed with Jalen McDaniels off the bench for Charlotte with 16 and 9.
Now, here's an interesting question for you. The Ball situation made me think of this. I've often wondered this. I'm curious your opinion. When you have multiple brothers who play in, one particular sport at the highest level, you see this a lot, Plumlees and now the Balls, and we've seen it before with the Berries and everyone else. Like, oftentimes there's one, not always, but oftentimes there's one that is like way better than the rest. And a lot of times, and it makes sense because they're coming from the same gene pool in most cases. You have, similar height, similar body type, but like with the Balls, they're all about the same general build and and body type and whatever. Why is one so much better than the other? Is it pure dedication to craft? I mean, because it's probably not as heavy genetics because they are going to be so similar genetically. It's interesting. I've always wondered.
Sometimes it's just natural ability. Sometimes it's how hard you work. I mean, he's just a better player than Lonzo is, LaMelo. Just better.
Right.
I wish I had a better explanation why.
No, well, that's the thing. And that's why I always think about it, because genetically speaking, it shouldn't be that radically different. I mean, Lonzo doesn't stay healthy. I think Lonzo's a really, really good player. I really do.
He is. He plays a different style than LaMelo does. LaMelo plays more in the air. Yeah,
and LaMelo is also an offensive guy.
Yes.
Lonzo is a playmaker who will contribute on offense, but is more of a rounded player, is much more of a defensive force. LaMelo is a guy you build an offense around.
And you know something? I think the two of them would be incredible together.
Yeah, they would be awesome to play together. They would fit beautifully together. That'd be cool. LiAngelo is bleh.
Yeah, he's
sorry, buddy.
Denver didn't play last night.
Nope.
So it was a chance for another MVP type player to show off his wares. And despite the fact they got hammered by Sacramento, you cannot help but marvel at LeBron James.
Oh, he's amazing. I really,
at his age and with that much tread on his tires, 31, 6, and 11.
On an efficient shooting too.
Yeah.
As the only real threat.
Now here's something interesting. Each team, all 5 starters, scored in double figures.
I saw that. A lot of points in this game. What did they have? Like 250 points or something in this game?
134 to 120.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was 254
Yeah.
points. Now the difference is one guy had 31 on the Lakers and the other 4 all had in the teens. For Sacramento, 4 guys were in the 20s, led by Kevin Herters, 26. And the guy who scored in the teens, Domantas Sabonis, also had 21 rebounds and 12 assists.
Yeah, he had a great game.
Gee, if the Lakers only had a big man who could play in that spot to try to.
Yeah, there's a guy, I heard of him. He's a rumor. Is the Davis guy I heard about? He's pretty good.
Yeah. I've heard about him, but I have to see him.
He's a ghost. No one gets to see him. Oh my God.
But I mean, yeah, somebody's saying, well, Nikola Jokic can't be MVP 3 years in a row. And I say, why not?
Yeah.
But man, there's 2 guys you got to look out for. And that's one of them. At his age, I would still consider him. And with a 30-point blowout of the Warriors last night, how can you not put Kevin Durant up there? Without Kyrie, who was hurt, he put up an efficient, and he didn't wreck the joint, but he put up an efficient 23, 7, 5, and 4 steals.
Yeah, I think
and he only played 29 minutes.
I think Golden State has some serious soul searching to do. I think this team is in a world of hurt right now. Everyone talks about the Lakers in this department, understandably so, but
Curry and Thompson didn't play.
Right. Well, Curry's going to be out for a little while.
Right. Wiggins didn't play, injured. And the guy who filled in nicely for Curry in the first half of that game against Philly, Dante DiVincenzo, was out injured.
Yeah, they got a lot of injuries right now.
Yeah, so
I mean, they're all banged up, but like, I don't know.
Now James Wiseman gave him 30 points in 27 minutes off the bench.
That had to feel great for him. I'm happy for him. He's been up and down with the G League, and he's trying to learn his way in the league and all that.
His last 2 or 3 games have been nice off the bench, and maybe there's some hope for him. I hope there is.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, I always thought he was an NBA player.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to see that for him. The Knicks have been rolling, and I'm so happy about it. Now they didn't play last night, right?
They did.
They did. Okay, I missed that game.
They lost to the Raptors.
They lost to Toronto. They did.
Well, they lost to Pascal Siakam, who had 52 points.
God, that is insane.
He kind of took that statement that Embiid made to heart.
Good.
And I always felt it wasn't the players as much as it was what the players are. And yeah, he had 52, 9, and 7.
Wow. So, I mean, what do you say to that other than, geez, that's insane? I mean,
then Van Vliet had 28. So between the 2 of them, they had 80 points.
2 guys score 80 points. Yeah.
That's kind of hard to beat, even though Barrett and Randall each had 30 and Quickly had 20.
Yep.
Because Quickly started last night with Brunson because Grimes was out.
Right.
And he's day to day, Grimes. But that's 80 points between those 3.
What do you make of the East right now? Where do you have, say, that middle of the East, like the Knicks, Toronto?
Well, right now the Knicks are in 6th, Philly's 5th, Brooklyn's 4th, Cleveland's 3rd, Boston 2nd, Milwaukee 1st. Milwaukee losing last night to the Cavs. And that sounds about right. I don't know what secret sauce Boston is missing.
Yeah, they haven't been playing well recently.
But they haven't. The Cavs last night beat Milwaukee despite 45 from Giannis.
Yeah, that was a statement win by the Cavs. That was a big game for them.
Mitchell had 36 and 6 assists. Garland had 23. Jared Allen had 19 and 8 boards. I mean, Evan Mobley didn't play a lot. He had 7. And they didn't get a lot from the bench. I'm wondering if they need to fill that third spot. Do you make Karis LeVert available? Because for some reason, he's not fitting.
He's not. I would love him
Whether
on the
they
Lakers.
start him or bring him off the bench, he's a bad fit.
Yeah, I would love him on the Lakers.
What do the Lakers have that the Cavs want?
I mean, besides
they're going
those-
to look for a small forward.
right.
Because that's the only spot they're concerned about.
right.
I mean,
right.
Isaac Okoro started last night.
Yeah.
He's
yeah.
not an NBA starter. But
Yeah.
again, LeVert hasn't worked out.
I mean, maybe another team that might have someone they might be of interest in would be a team like maybe Atlanta has a couple of those like wing guys. Maybe they want to look at John Collins. Doesn't really fit in Atlanta.
Yeah, I don't think he'd fit in Cleveland either with
I don't
Mobley
either,
and
yeah,
Allen. Because
yeah.
you got no one that can defend threes.
Right. Trying to think who else would be.
And I mean, Love had 9 and 5 assists off the bench last. But yeah, there's just not a fit there. And I don't know of a 3. The only one I can think of is Jay Crowder.
Right.
And I don't know if Phoenix what Cleveland would offer.
Yeah, I'm surprised that Crowder is still, that situation hasn't resolved yet. I thought that would happen faster.
I'm not, because I think the Suns want too much. And you're not going to get it.
No, he's a role player.
Face it. Right. Would he be perfect in Cleveland? Yes. And Drew Holiday last night in that game, he played a lot, but he was so close. He had one of the best triple singles I've ever seen. He had 9 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists.
Triple singles.
He just missed having everything, but he had one of those off shooting ones. But of course, Giannis was just tearing everything up.
Giannis is an animal.
And they played as well as they did without Chris Middleton.
Yep. How long is he out for?
I don't know, and I'm wondering when he's going to get back.
Because he was back for a little while, and now he's out again.
Yeah.
He must have played about 5 games or so, and now he's out
I
again.
think, yeah, he played a few.
I just wonder, is it like the same injury?
I don't know. I haven't seen enough on it.
Because that's the question: does he have the same injury, or is it like a new injury? Because yeah, he definitely came back.
Yeah, and played okay.
Yeah, he was playing all right.
I'm going to poke around today and talk to some people and try to find out.
Yeah, because I mean, the Bucks being in first in the East without him is a testament to how good they really are. But if they get him back, I still think they're the best team in the NBA when fully healthy. I really do.
What is wrong with the Celtics?
That's a really good question. I don't know. Middleton is a knee problem again. Yep. So.
Yeah, I haven't seen any. Is it the same knee?
Yep. Yeah, it's a knee problem.
Is he compensating? With the bad one? I don't know.
Yeah, but the Celtics is a tough one. Although they are getting some news here. Tuesday, it was announced that Danilo Gallinari plans to do rehab in Boston.
He's been in Boston.
Right. So he's stepping up his rehab now. So he's taking that next step toward his road back, is what I'm saying.
Good. They need him back.
Yeah. So there you have it.
And in a game last night that I didn't think was all that exciting, Dallas did win. And speaking of MVP candidates, Luka Doncic had 25, 9, and 10, and 3 steals.
Luka's so good.
He was 1 rebound away from a triple-double.
Yeah, Luka's amazing. He's just unbelievable. And
Christian Wood for the last 2 games has been in their starting lineup.
There you go.
And it's good to see.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, especially with Kleber out.
Yeah, Maxi Kleber, yep.
Yeah, they need to get the minutes out of Wood.
There we go. All right, well, Toby's in the house.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Means it's time for a break. And we'll come back and we will do news you can use to close up the show. It's the Gary Ayd Show. You're on the Cave.
I just got a couple of quick hockey things, too.
All right, back after this here on the Cave.
Do you want to save next flight? Then pick up the phone and call. That's right, call. Because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at crazy low prices. They have access to great prices and discounts at over 500 different airlines. Plus 300,000 hotels and rental car companies. Their prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find the best price for you. Call SmartFares today and get ready to see the world with a fat wallet.
800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. 800-370-2460. That's 800-370-2460.
Come on. You watch the news. Be prepared to pay more taxes. Then if you owe back taxes or haven't filed in a few years, get ready. The IRS, the largest collection agency in the world, will be coming after you with the power to collect taxes by any means they want to. Hey, they can freeze your bank account, your passport, even padlock your business. Oh, good times. Look, if the IRS claims you owe them $5,000 or more in back taxes and they're coming after you, don't panic. Call my friends at Get a Tax Lawyer first. Their job is to negotiate with the IRS and save you money. They're experts at it. That's all they do. And you can trust them. In some cases, they have reduced a $50,000 tax bill to less than $1,000. If you owe the IRS $5,000 or more in back taxes, call now for a free consultation.
Call 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. 800-649-8617. That's 800-649-8617.
All righty, hit us with the NHL, Rich. Then we'll get to the news you can use.
Okay, only one team played last night in the state/local area. New Jersey Devils on a 6-game losing streak. Doubled up Florida last night and played a really solid game, 4-2, in a game they needed to win. And they welcomed back Scott Wedgwood in goal, who's been injured. And it was good to see him back. Nice, much-needed win for the Devils. One interesting note, Roman Josi of the Predators scored a goal and an assist in their win over Chicago last night. He now has 567 career points. He is the all-time leader in franchise points and the only defenseman who leads his team all-time in points.
Interesting.
The Sabres would be playing tomorrow night, but the game was postponed due to a, quote, once-in-a-generation storm.
You know, I'm glad you brought that up. I just have to say something about that. I feel like I hear about a once-in-a-generation storm once a winter. Like, I'm so over the hyperbole of all this. Yeah, it's going to be cold. Yeah, it's going to cover a lot of the country geographically. I get it. And, you know, maybe this is truly the once-in-a-generation storm. But you know what? This boy who cried wolf syndrome is really strong with me right now with all kinds of weather. Every time there's any kind of storm, it's, well, once in a generation, climate change, blah, blah, blah. No, Florida gets hurricanes in the summer and fall, and the Midwest and the northern states get freezing, super crazy temperatures. Like, it's not weird for Minnesota to be -5. Like, that's not strange for December.
Right.
It's
right.
not. It
Well,
sucks,
didn't
but
you know? And
it's
and
Minnesota.
back to Buffalo. Didn't we have a quote once in a generation
Yes,
storm a
like
few weeks
3
ago?
weeks ago, once in a
Yeah.
generation, a few weeks ago, right? Like, it's just
And that delivered like 80 inches of
Yeah.
snow to some of the south
Right.
towns. This one they're calling for probably 3 feet.
yeah, that's a bad storm.
I understand why they canceled the game. I don't think it's a matter of being able to play the game, but combining that snow with 65-mile-an-hour winds, which are expected tomorrow,
Yep.
causes whiteouts and visibility issues. Tampa Bay could get here today
Yeah,
to play that game, but the question is, how do they get out?
right. And when? Right.
Yeah, and that's possibly why they canceled the game or postponed it until
Till further
March,
notice.
I think.
Right, right.
Where we could have another, once in a generation storm.
Yeah.
Uh,
It just
No,
drives you crazy.
I completely agree with you on this.
It's like, when I think of once in a generation storm, you know what I think of? I think of Hurricane Andrew.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think of things like that, where it's like, honestly, like this storm you were just talking about that you guys had a few weeks ago is probably about as significant a snowfall as there's been in the area in a long time for those southern towns.
Maybe 10 years.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's not quite a generation, but it's close-ish.
Right.
This
isn't going to be the same kind of snow.
Right, right.
But there also weren't 65-mile-an-hour winds with it.
Right. The winds, and I think the amount of overall land mass that this storm is covering, because it's going to cover a huge part of the country.
Oh, yeah. It's not going to just centralize in the south towns, supposedly this time.
Right, right. So, anyway.
Which means I'm not going anywhere for a few days. That's all there is to it.
Hanging out at home. That's it.
Got all the stuff all ready for dinner Sunday.
Yep.
Got all the food we need. Got booze. Got coffee. We're set.
Do you have Yukon Jack?
I do not. I do not.
Might want to get on that.
I have a couple of the things that are going to suffice just.
All right. There you go. Good stuff.
Yukon Jack. Oh, breakfast of champions.
Oh man, you might have a problem if you're having Yukon over for breakfast. Hell, you might even have a problem if you're having him over for dinner. He's a troublemaker. But.
Well, true. I've seen much Yukon Jack damage in my time, and not just by me.
Oh, it's not just you. Okay.
No, by many people who looked at me and said, "I'll never drink that stuff again." I said, "Yes, you will."
Yeah, you will. Oh,
yes, you will.
This reminds me of
so good.
It's so good. It reminds me.
I turned you on.
You did. This is all you. 100%. Absolutely, it's your fault. I have a friend who's a baker. She's a high school friend of mine. She makes really good baked goods, and it's funny. I was talking to another friend of mine at the local library about it the other day. And the thing I always like to get from this baker is date nut bread, because you can't buy it anywhere. Like Chock full of Nuts doesn't exist anymore as a retail location. They're all just buy them in the store. There's like one or two left. There's like one in Brooklyn, and there
was one by you, right?
That's still there. It's in the lobby of the hospital, but they don't have the date nut bread anymore. They used to. They don't anymore. So
I wonder why.
I don't know. But it's so good. But like no one knows about it if you're under a certain age. And like I think that age is about 50, more or less. So I was telling my friend Carolyn about it, my baking friend. And then I was talking to my friend at the library about Carolyn and her baking and the fact that I get this date nut bread, and I explained to the person what date nut bread was and how good it is. And that person was like, "How do I get in touch with this person, with Carolyn, the baker?" So I gave her social, and I sent Carolyn a message. I said, if you get a call or a text from this lady, she's a friend of mine, blah, blah, blah. I was telling her about the date nut bread and how if she asked for it, the first thing you would say is, "How do you know Gary?" And she replied, "Absolutely, 100%. That's what I would say." Because no one knows about it, because she only made it she like looked up a recipe and made it because I asked her to. Like none of her other customers order it because no one knows about it. But it's so good. I love date nut bread.
I used to see it a lot more than I do.
Yeah, you don't see it anymore.
No, you don't even see it in bakeries now. And that's kind of weird.
No, you can't find it. I mean, I've like literally looked. And so the last resort was learning how to make it myself, which I did, but I don't like baking. So when I found Carolyn and she was able to make it, I was like, good, I'll just pay you.
Oh, why not?
Exactly. So there you have
Always
it.
keep a baker handy.
That's right.
That's
bakers, mechanics, and plumbers. Those are your best friends.
Date nut bread. That takes me back.
That's it. It does. All right. What do we got for some news you can use?
Well, the Yankees named a captain again. First one in a while.
Yep. Aaron Judge.
Aaron Judge is the 16th captain in Yankee history. Makes sense. Wow, I mean, the room got quiet when they made that announcement, and I wonder why.
Is it respect or like, yeah, whatever? I hope it's the first one. I hope it's not the last one.
Yeah, I think it is, but that's interesting.
Well, that
he said
team
it meant a lot to him coming up through the Yankee organization. He said this is all he's known, and he said words couldn't describe it. Mm-hmm. And I was hoping you had a few.
Yeah, I mean, look, he certainly is, and we knew this going into the off season. That's why we knew the Yankees were going to have to keep him no matter what. And they did, of course. He certainly is as identifiable a figure for the Yankees as anyone is in baseball. And that's always been sort of the reasoning behind the captaincy, right? It's not so much with the Yankees captain. It's never been so much leadership abilities or even playing abilities. It was more identifiability with the Yankees, where it's a synonym almost. The name Judge, I guess, to the Yankees brass satisfaction, is now enough of a synonym for Yankee to make him a captain. I think that's what the Yankees have always done with their captaincy is this person's name inextricable from the Yankee name, like Derek Jeter. It's Yankees. Derek Jeter means the same thing. Joe DiMaggio.
Jeter was the last one.
Right. He was the most recent one. Thurman Munson at one point. Like, so those names are synonymous with the Yankees. Whereas, Jeter probably wasn't at any point the best player on those teams. But he was the captain because he was
a Yankee.
Because he was synonymous with the Yankees. Right. And I think that's what they base it on. And in that respect, yeah, Judge is a worthy candidate, I believe.
As do I. What else do we have here? Pittsburgh Pirates O'Neal Cruz suffered a left ankle injury playing in the Dominican Republic League. I know a lot of guys play winter ball down there, especially players that are from around there. If you had guys that were from the DR and they all played there in the winter, would you have a clause in their contract? Now, this looks like it's a minor thing.
I would, if I was a real team that was actually to keep my guys. I think for a team like Pittsburgh that is unlikely to keep O'Neal Cruz once he reaches free agency, I probably still would, but I would push back. I'll take it from the other side. If I was the representation for O'Neal Cruz, I would push back more on a team like Pittsburgh putting a clause like that in than I would on a team like the Dodgers or the Yankees or the Mets or someone else, because I'm going to look them straight in the eye and say, when I can get my worth, you're not going to pay it. So why should I listen to you?
Yeah.
I would go for like Baltimore and Oakland and these other teams like that too. It's not just the Pirates.
You don't think there's a chance Cruz might be the first one they actually pay?
I mean, there's always a chance. If you play enough lottery tickets, you have a chance of winning one. But I mean, I'm not judging based on chance. I'm judging based on probability. And if I'm his representation If they come to me with something like that, I'm pushing back with that argument. And like, okay, well, he's the exception. Okay, prove it to us now. Do what Tampa Bay does. Buy out the contract and give him a maybe team-friendly but market representative contract now. Let's do it. And then we can go with the clause if you want. That's what I'm doing if I'm his agent. Otherwise, I'm going to say, leave me alone.
And that's actually what they should do.
Yeah. Yep.
I got two things, but I
Okay.
know we're short on time, and I don't know which one to
Well,
approach
let's
first.
do one. Let's go.
Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts expected to miss the Cowboys game. Do you believe that first?
That seems like a big game to miss. Probably the last important game on their schedule. But if they're saying it, I guess I believe it. I mean, that seems like a weird thing to lie about, but
Yeah, apparently he is injured.
yeah. The shoulder injury, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hurts is hurt.
That might change perspective and line on that game.
Yeah, it definitely will have an impact. There's no question about it. All right, what's the last one?
In a big way. There's a list of 5 teams that could target Zach LaVine and ahead of the trade deadline. I'm going to give you the 5. Okay. Miami Heat, Memphis Grizzlies, Lakers, Mavericks, and Knicks. Why tomorrow don't we take that and talk about it?
Yeah, and I would like to add a 6th team to that. We were talking about it a minute ago. Wouldn't he suffice for the Cavs' need of a wingman?
No.
You don't think so?
Too ball dominant with the 2 guards they have, and nobody in that bunch plays the 3. So no.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go.
That's just me, though.
Okay.
Tomorrow, let's dig into that a little more and give me a reason why it should be.
Let's go. And again, reminder, tomorrow is a 1-hour show, 11 to noon. So we'll dig into that and we'll hit
Yeah, we got our NFL picks.
Yeah, we got our NFL picks. So there you have it. All right. Well, that does it for us today. We'll be back tomorrow, 11 to noon. The Gary Ayd Show here on The Cave.